born in Iran, 1905, in a little town named Ada. Ada is situated on the north end of the Iran, next to the Russian border. We always had the protection of the Russian Tsar. So we had our own village, we spoke our own language, we had our own schools. We never mixed with the Muslims. So all the way up to 1914, my parents lived down. I had 6 brothers and 3 sisters. And my brother graduated Moscow University. And 1918 war started. He got the message from his school. Get out of the Iran, Russian army is moving out. If they don't, Turkish army is going to trap him. So he got the note. I remember he got my father, my uncles, my grandfather, asked him to all live with him. He told them he's only going to list a short time, but they wouldn't do it. But he took my brother-in-law and him, went to Russia with the army. So after they went, we got raided by the Turks, Kurds, Iranian Muslims. They killed all our young men. They raped all our young girls. And they killed my father, my 2 uncles, my grandfather. So then next morning, we had Andy and I had new uniform from a Russian university. My brother had bought it. That's something Iranian never saw. These Kurds saw it on us, they chased us. They couldn't catch me, but they caught Andy, they took it off of him. And my mother got a blanket wrapped around him. So after the killing was done, raping was done, took all the money they want until late in the afternoon. Then they moved out into next Christian village, Assyrian village. Because Assyrian village, they were Muslim villages far apart. So my mother got up on the roof, she started calling my dad. She didn't know what he had escaped, what happened. And he answered her. He was in a haystack in the barn. He was shot twice. Once in the chest, once in the leg. We went downstairs, there was Andy, my brother, my sister, and my little brother, Walter. He was about your age. We went downstairs, he told us where his money was. He had never given up. He had buried it in a steel suitcase in the barn. He told my mother, and also he told my mother, one of the Kurds, Turks, was not Turk. He was dressed like one, but he was appointed to pick my father, make sure he get killed. Because village owner, he owned the village. My father made a lot of money, he bought him out. Our land was our own. He got jealous, so he wanted to get my father killed. This young man was with the Kurds. My father recognized him. Because when he found him, he wasn't dead. But this guy thought he was dead. He wasn't dead. So he told my mother everything. He told her this guy's name. He told him his father's name. He told him what town village they're in. Then he asked for water. My sister Miriam, she went and got a water. And he drank that water and he passed out. He died. Because he ran out of blood. There was no way you could have saved him. So next morning, my uncle came in to my mother's brother. He said to my mother, get the kids, I'll take you to a safety place. He had the Muslim neighbors, friends with him. He took us from the back doors, from through the trees, to the farms, went into the Persian village. There was Andy, Miriam, Walter, and mother, me, and my uncle. He knocked on the door, old man come out. That's the name he was Parajullah, he came out. he was good friend of my uncle. He said, this is my sister, these are her children, I leave them to your care. So this guy took us in, he took us over 2 months. At the end of the 2 months, the Russian army come back. Russian army come back. They defeated the Turks. They came in, then law was changed. my brother become a governor. He was told no killing, but you can prosecute all those who has raided your homes, whatever they take, make them pay for it. But no killing unless they have killed. So they did that. Oh, they got one by one. They had taken our cow, they had taken our ox, buffaloes, the milking cows. They made them pay for everything. So finally, he said, you know, it's fun. This village lord, owner, he had hired this young Persian with the Kurd, dressed like them, just to appoint my father. But when my father recognized him, and he told my mother his name, what town he's from, what their parents are, before he died. So this, after prosecuting everything, they when I got this young man. They had a regular courthouse. They brought him in, and the court, no matter what they say, he said, no, I wasn't there. I was. He said, yes, but father saw you. He denied it. So they tied him to a post, take his top shirts off, use a whip. They were hitting him with a whip, blood was squirting from his back. He broke through. He broke. He said, Beramkhan, pay me $10. That's about $5 American money at that time, to make sure appoint your father to these Kurds so they could kill him. He untied him, let him go. Didn't do nothing because he wasn't the killer yet. Russia would not allow killing. Although, anyway, the next morning he hired gunfighters. You heard the cowboys, gunfighters? They were Armenian boys. They killed for money. So my brother hired two of them to kill this landlord's three sons. They had come to a Persian village to collect their crop. It was late September, to collect the crop. And he took the two Armenians on a horseback with some men, went into that village, showed them, over there it gets hot, they sleep on the roof, all the rooftops. They're more cooler. So he showed them where they sleep. He wanted all three killed. He offered them so much money. Come back. Next, in the middle of the night, all I heard horses coming into our yard. They had got in the roof, killed the two oldest. One was about 23, the other was about 17, but the one about 9, 10-year-old, he said, we couldn't get him. He said, there were half a dozen kids. We didn't want to kill them all. So my father said to him, I pay you for 3 of them. I want 3 dead. He was so mad, see. So they decided not to collect for the third one. Next morning, he got up. His assistant was his brother-in-law. He was the meanest Assyrian man you ever saw. He killed Turks by nobody business. So went to the village, took the bodies, put them on a cart. You know these coal wagon carts? That's the kind we had. Put them in the cart. Their father had a castle and a big village. Very wealthy man. He said he saw us coming in. He come out of the door. He's screaming. He pulling his hair. He had my 2 sons killed. He's bringing their bodies into me. That was absolutely true. That was a revenge.
That's revenge, boys.
That was a revenge.
Do you understand what he's talking about?
Yeah, that was a revenge. So what happens? They later on, after he got killed, the Russian Revolution started in 1917. The communists started. Again, my brother picked up his wife. He was married then. Uncle Julius was 3 years old. Took him and took my brother-in-law, my sister Miriam, my sister Patricia's husband, with him. They went to Russia. And then, again, but this time, Russian trained our men. Give them guns, equipment, cannons, trained them. He said, you got to defend yourself because we cannot. There's a revolution in Russia. Then, when they went out, they got attacked from all sides. Every time we got attacked, we defeated them, we slaughtered them. We not, our men would not get out. They lay in the trench, you had to go over his body. Because if he defeat us, they're going to kill our families. So we held up, it was 1917 to 1918. In 1918, began getting low in food because all the Assyrians moved in the small area. We were running short in food, we were running short in ammunition. So we had a general, he was general by the French and the British. He said that we knew there was a British coming from the south. And he sent a spy to the Iran to meet the British, gave him the message, we need help. This man gets through. You know, it's very lucky. He carried a kerosene can on his back, whenever he got to a town, he hollered kerosene for sale. They used it on torchlights those days. Anyway, he gave the message to the British. Next morning, an airplane came. I never saw a plane in my life. First time. Circled around, landed on a cow patch. In a pasture where the cows, there were no airfields. He asked for our general. Our general, and he told him, you send the men, soldiers, from our country, come south. We'll come from the north. From the south, we'll meet, we'll bring you all the supplies. So our general took about 100 men, all on horseback. They went through Iran. Every village, they just spread it open. The Iranians didn't have any guns. They were not a fighter, a bunch of coward people. They meet the British, but meantime, our other general, the religious general, he started to evacuate. There was a big Turkish army coming out of Russia because Russia, communists surrendered, didn't fight. So Turkish army marched in. Then Turkey surrendered, 1918. When Turkey surrendered, they were going to go back home. There was no way they can go. They had to come to our way, take our food to go to Turkey. So this, our leader said, without our general, without our best fighting men, we can't hold them. He started to evacuate 500,000 people. You saw the cover wagon, all the cover wagons to move. So if he had stayed, this would have never happened. We'd have been still there because nobody could have defeated our men. Anyway, started evacuate. Word came out, everybody get ready to get out. 500,000 people. We had nothing. My mother, Andy, my brother Andy, my brother Walter, and my sister Mary. 4 of us had no men. So my brother-in-law, my older sister's husband, and he had 2 little kids. One was about 3 years old, one was about 6 months. The 6 months she used to nurse him. He had one of those wagons, cover wagons. He also had a sister, her husband was killed. She had 4 kids. He brought in front of our door, we put all we could carry. My mother baked enough bread, this much. All the flour we had, she baked it in because we know it was going to be long today. So we got that bread, put it in the cart, a couple of blankets, and he had a horse. He gave us the horse. We put them some things on the horse, and we started out that night. We went, and he had a sister, and she was about 25 years old. She was sick. She was laying in the cart. And I had my little brother, he was sick. What are you looking for, honey? So he was laying in the sick. After we got through, we walked in for about 5 days. We reached the end of the Lake Urmia. We were to make left, right turn. We heard we got an attack from the Kurds and Turkish from the mountains, whatnot. Our men fight them out, we running. That night we arrived, we broke the Turkish army. We arrived that night, we looked, that sister of my brother, 3 years old, he was dead. She was dead in the wagon. We picked her up, couldn't dig a grave that night. Couldn't dig a grave because everything was rock. So we put her body next to rock. We went out and collected stones from all over, covered her up. We got up, next morning we left. We won again, but 3 days later, we reached, we got attacked again. The unmanned took our horse away from me. He said, we're gonna go back. Hold the courage. Give me a little pony, his back was bent like this. And when we got attacked, my mother said to me, you sit in the pony, you go ahead first, we'll catch you. Because if they go into the crowd, kill anybody over 10 years old, men. So I went. Anyway, and they escaped that slaughter. I reached the river, right by the bridge. I hadn't eaten for 2 days. Somebody had dumped a flour sack. You know what flour is? Dumped it. It had broken loose. The flour came out. I took a handful of flour eaten. I couldn't help it. And I couldn't swallow it. Got stuck. So I reached in the water and washed my mouth with water. So I tied the horse in my arm, the little pony. I leaned against the bridge, waiting for my mother and everybody else to come. And they had come, they hadn't seen me. This was about late in the afternoon. Sun was going to go way down. We used to stop. My mother used to make give everybody the ration, a small piece of bread. That's all we had. So they had come and missed me. They had gone on the other side of the bridge. That's where they start the rest for the night. So I woke up. I opened my eyes. I remember this. When I went to sit down by this river, sun was over here. Now I woke up. Sun is way on the other side. Couldn't figure out what happened. I had slipped all through the night. Somebody came in, cut the rope off my horse, off my hand. They took my horse. So I got up, I watched where they're going. I got so confused. I realized which way. I got to the other side of the bridge. Here they are, my mother, the whole family. They are getting ready to go. They waited for me, I couldn't see me, I lost them. If I hadn't found them, I'd been gone. Anyway, we got them together there, we started giving me a little bread right away. We went about 2 days, we reached a town. We had very little to eat, barefooted, thirsty, filthy, you wouldn't believe it. So we reached a town, I knew, all those towns, they have vineyards. You know what vineyard is? Grapes, with grapes. In there they have a little summer home. Around the summer they always raise cantaloupes, honeydew, cucumbers for their own use. So I got run in there because when we got there, the Muslim Turks ran out of the village. Evacuated, see? And I got up there, I went like a crazy man. I found the cucumber patch. Oh, nice big ones like this. I fill up my shirt, I loaded, I walked back. My mother said, where did you get them from? She said, don't eat them. If you eat cucumber, you haven't eaten two days, you get sick. So she took them out, everybody got a slice. That cucumber. So we went that night. The next day, my little brother, I bought some also unripe grapes. It was sour. And my little brother was so sick, he hadn't eaten the sweet that left home. He asked my mother, give me some of that oira, call it, sour grapes. He took about 2, 3, put it in his mouth. He couldn't eat it. But that night, when we got about 6 o'clock, they realized he was dead in the car. So everybody, if you cannot carry your children alive, they were taken and put them on the side of the road. Whatever they had, a little water or a little milk, they couldn't carry it. So my mother didn't do that. She took him, wrapped him in a blanket. Dead. Carry him. until we carry him until it got dark. When it got dark, her and my brother-in-law went over, dug a little grave in a channel where they irrigate land. Because if they put it in the land where the farmer plows and they dig them up, they dig in the grave, buried in there. Oh, my mother cried. I wouldn't let her. She started pulling her hair. I jumped on her arm, I held her hand. I begged her not to cry. I stopped her that night. So we went after another 2 days. We reached the bridge. We know British Army's there. We got a protection. All our men, soldiers, they left looking for their families. And we got attacked from the Persians. Boy, we got up, we started to go. We got in front of the gate of the town, and they shut the gates down. We had to go around the town. We went around the town. I got into area where I saw honeydews. You know what honeydew are? Those big water honeydews. I went in there, I picked up one nice big one. It wasn't quite ripe. I took it in, my mother took that again, cut it a piece, everybody got a little slice. We ran, got it on the other side of town, and I looked down, there's a bundle of Assyrian bread. Assyrian bread is about that big around, heavy, like this.
Peter bread.
Yeah, and I picked it up. I was so excited, if I had found $1,000, we wouldn't have been as happy as the bread. We had run out of bread. So right away my mother took it. My mother was always in charge of region. Everybody got a piece of bread. So I'm lucky to eat that.
See that?
Yeah. They're lucky to barefooted. We were filthy. Fleas all over. So we got out of the mess. The shooting, we got to climb. No, the English wouldn't fight. The English said, war is over. I had armistice sign. He said, war is over, we can't fight. Then Persian went into the crowd and killing people. Our general got the gun, put it on the English major's forehead, pull the star off, pin it on himself, give the English order to fight. They said, if you don't fight, you're going to have you all killed. Then they stopped the Turks. So we started to go, we had to climb, we got out of the trouble. We had to climb on the hill before we could go down. One of the oxes refused to. He just lay down, he wouldn't go. He hadn't eaten for 17 days.
Wow.
He wouldn't eat, he wouldn't go. So he took it off the ham, he would stand up. He put it on and then he lay down again. The other one was all right. So do you know what he did? He put himself in the place of the ox.
Brother-in-law, wasn't it?
My brother put her on the neck, tied it, the ox on one side, he on the other side. There was all the kids, Andy and me and my sister, my mother. We all leaned back on that cart, sort of give it a push until he got on top of that hill. He got on top, how smart he was. He took the meantime, the other ox coming with us. But he refused to carry it. We got on top of the hill, he untied the other one. He turned the wagon around, he tied the wheels so they don't turn. He held it, slowly running down that hill, all the way down. Then, turned around, tied the ox in there, and they carried it. We're in safe now, from as far as the danger goes. We got to a town they call Hamadan. That was quite a ways. We camped, all the people from our village, we stuck together. We all camped in a cow patch. And we all were together. At that time, British was giving us rice and corned beef. So we all were together there. And my sister, older sister, got sick. Within 2 weeks, she died. She had a son, 3.5 years old, one of them about 6 months. And when they died, she died, and my brother-in-law is no more help. He didn't say anything. Then my other cousin, I heard the name Mama. He came, he said to my mother, and get the kids, come with me. The order came, the camps were going to be ready in Iraq. That was a long way from there. We lost Auntie Batishwa, we lost her brother John, we lost her mother. They were both, my mother and Auntie Batishwa were so sick, she had a little girl, and her name was Frances, and she died from starvation. And because she used to nurse her. She couldn't nurse her, she was too sick. So we left with my cousin. We came all the way to another town called Tabriz, no, Kermanshah. British told us right away, the camp won't be ready. You better settle here along the river, thank you where there's water, and until it's ready. We pitched up the camp there. Oh, when my sister, when my sister was sick and that before she died, I'll tell you, you never seen anything like it. She was laying on the ground, my mother was, her head in her lap, leaning against the wagon wheel. When she died, opened her eyes, I still remember, she looked around, that was the end. My mother was wild. All she was doing, screaming, pulling her hair out. I jumped in her lap. I grabbed both hands. I held her tight. I said, "Big, you don't kill yourself." He said, you didn't let me cry for my son. You don't want to let me cry for my daughter. Let me die. Well, anyway, I stopped her. Then that's when my cousin came and picked us up. We got to this bank in the river. We set the camp there, and my mother got sick. British was building a road from Kermanshah to Abadan, to Hamadan, about 100 miles apart. So they give us a job. Andy and I used to work. Look at just imagine. This is Andy is 9 years old.
It's your age.
Breaking stones on the road. They give us about 10 cents a day. So my mother got sick there. We were there about a month. My mother got sick there, and she said, I remember this. My daughter, she's called my daughter, or my sister over. She says, I am going to die. My daughter, I'm going to die in Assyrian. I'm going to die. You take care of your brothers. But that night, I got up in the morning and I went to her, came back. She had already died. She had taken over across the river. Across the river and the bank, British had dug a big grave. Everyone who died, put him in, cover him up, keep doing that. There's a monument in there now.
Oh, there is?
I can go down blindfold, find it. So she died. They got up. Then the order came, we can go now, camps will be ready. So we started out going still with my cousin's ox cart. And we put we already had a couple of blankets and food. That's all we could carry. We started out, second day, I developed a blister on my right foot. I had to walk on my toe. You know, you're gonna walk 2 days like that. There was 2 days walking before we get to the Iraqi border. They had a train there. So Mama was my cousin. He's the one that had the ox car. He stopped the car. He waited until I reached him. Put me in the car. As soon as I got into the car, I fell asleep. I woke up. They had reached the train station. So we had to reach the station and put us all in the train. From there, it brought us to the camp. Before we put us in the camp, we had our tents ready. They took all our clothes off, shave our hair, give us a steam bath to kill all the germs, all the fleas. Andy had so many, and they said when they shaved him, they took a brush. They were scraping him like flies.
Wow. All the bugs in their hair. Bugs and fleas.
So then they got us all fixed up. We got into the tent. From then, we were safe. They were giving us food. They were giving us clothes. So every now and then, train would come from Iran, just like we came. And I knew Batishwa, Antibacha. You know Antibacha, didn't you? I knew. I didn't know what happened to her, but I thought that she'd be in a... So I used to go wait at the station. Whoever come, I see to watch him. One day, here she comes. As skinny as a bone. Her mother had died. The little baby had died. Her and John came out. Absolutely, there ain't not a bit of flesh on her. She had eaten for a month. She came in, joined us. So from then on, we stuck together. So we were in that camp, from 1918 to 1921. My sister got married right away. And my mother told her, take care of your brother. She got married right away. She's a 17-year-old girl. She married a man older than her father. They thought they were doing her a favor. Anyway, the Patasha took care of us all the time. She was just like a mother. 3 years we stay in there. Then this brother-in-law of mine, my sister got married, he got me a job in a British Army camp. They had an officers club. So my job was, there were two of us. My job was to clean up after they leave. You know, the bus boys in the restaurant, the guy pick up the dishes. So I worked there, all of a sudden one day I got a letter. They break in the camps, British break in the camps, everybody gonna go back to their own country. I didn't know. He said, you better come back, because everybody was getting $200 person. So when they get back to their homes, they have something to work from. So I got in a truck, British soldier truck. I went to they took me all the way to the camp, and I found out then that Uncle Numrit, you know who Uncle Numrit is? Uncle Bill's father. He had sent us $1,000. He was in America. He wanted to come to America. When I found that out, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. So we came to the camp, we got our passport, we got our visa to America, and we started out, took a boat on the Tigris River, all the way to port of Basra. Is right on the Persian Gulf. From there, we took a ship all the way to Bombay, India. We got to Bombay, India. There were a lot of Assyrians there, and the hotel was jammed. They come to America. Whoever had money, they would come and see. And they said, how do you arrange for this boat? He said, British Army is going back to England. All the boats are taken. But there is an Assyrian man, Assyrian woman, married to Italian. Her husband is a consular in Bombay. He said, he's the only one can help you. So I took Antibatashu and I went there. We walked to the about five. I found her. I found her mother, and her aunt. Because her mother and her aunt, and their grandmother, my grandmother were cousins. They used to come in the summer, visit my grandmother. So they recognized him. So he set it up. She come with us, her and her mother. They come with us.
It was after me then.
Yeah, she was only 6 years old. They came, I was supposed to be guard. I was 16 years old. If you have to have a man with 16, you won't get a visa. We got a boat, we were on that boat 17 days, from Bombay to France. We got to France, word come out that immigration is closed.
Can't get through.
You cannot, if you go back, they send you back. You get scared, take a chance. If you go back all the way to America, send it back, our money will be gone. Meantime, my brother was in America here. We stayed there 9 months. During the 9 months time, her mother, The maid they had in the hotel stole the money from her. All the money they had. See, we had adjoining rooms. We had one big bedroom, two double beds. Andy and I sleep on one, and the brother John sleep on the other one. And the opening door, they had a small room, double bed. Her mother stayed there. But we had a boarding house. We eat, cook together. I used to do all the shopping. So what this maid stole all the money. The mother got mad at her, put her in school. Catholic school, pretty Catholic, but I had to take her to school. My job was bringing me back and forth. You see that picture you see in the house? The one I'm sitting, she stands next to me, but that big. So we were there 9 months. My brother wrote a letter. He says, come on, we didn't know that we got the visa from American consul in Iran before the law was changed. See? So we were afraid. Then he says, come, I have a lawyer, I'll wait for you. So she left a couple of days before us. So we got the July 3rd, 1922, we got to New York. The day before 4th of July. They kept us there for, I
What
think,
do they call that place?
huh?
Asylum? What do they call it?
Immigration rooms.
Okay.
It was silent.
Yeah.
So we just stayed there, and then for the meantime they were feeding us, they were clothing us, and all of a sudden name come up. My brother had come from Chicago to New York with a lawyer, see, and we got called, go to the office. I went into the office. They asked me, how come you've been on the road 1 year? Well, I spoke a few words in English. He said, what language do you speak? I said, I can speak Turkish. They brought an Armenian interpreter. And he brought him in to interpret for me. Every word he made, he never did it right. Judge realized that he wasn't understanding me. He threw him out. Then whatever I did, I explained. All of a sudden he says, okay. I didn't know what the word okay was. Put stamped on my passport, okay. Go this way. We goes in there, we got our bags, junks, whatever we could carry, dragging them in there. We thinking now they're gonna put us on the boat. We're gonna be sent back to the old country. To France, I mean. So all of a sudden we got into the station. In that ticket he had sent us, my brother, there was a word Chicago on it, in a big print. When I saw a train, it said Chicago on it. I said, no, we're not going. Then we got into the train, come all the way to Chicago. My brother didn't even see us. He stayed there for 2 days. So we stayed with Uncle David, we called my cousin David, until my brother came. That's about the end of it. Andy and I are the only one made all that mess. Come out of that mess alive.
That's it.
How long took?
I don't know.